Hi everyone. Today I am going to talk about one interview question which I faced in US MNC company. The question was how many users the forms on daily basis and what are the performance issues noticed when submitting forms. అంటే ఎంతమంది నాన్ డైలీ బేసిస్ ఫామ్స్ వాడుతున్నారు, అలాగని మనము వాడేటప్పుడు పెర్ఫార్మెన్స్ ఇష్యూస్ ఎప్పుడెప్పుడు అబ్జర్వ్ చేశారు, ఎలా ఫిక్స్ చేశారని అడిగారు అనమాట. సో ఫర్ దట్ యూ కెన్ సే దట్ ఆన్ డైలీ బేసిస్ యు నార్మల్లీ Sailpoint is going to be implemented in the big MNCs. You can say on daily basis 10,000 users are going to use. So it could be termination request, immediate termination request, some internal form submissions, those things you can say that. So coming back to here, what are the performance issues you have faced it? I have gathered some of the answers for you guys. What are the common issues? What are the common issues we will be noticing in case of performance? So I'm going to answer the questions, and I want give you one promise. Hereafter I'm going to share interview questions which me or my colleagues faced for interviews. Those questions I am going to share with you all. So this will be continue for the next 30 days. So first question, first, so when you have faced the performance issues, that you can say that, let's assume that you have your form having many custom fields. So sometimes what happens, no, we will be developing forms. Okay, we will be developing a form. In that form, what they will do, okay, first name will be there, and the last name will be there, and display name will be there. Sometimes what happens, no, based on the first name and the last name, they wanted to calculate and create a display name. So that time, this is and all dynamic calculation, dynamic fields. Sometimes what happens, no, I noticed, okay, sometimes system user calculation will be there. System user calculation will be there. So system user calculation is there. How that time what happened? No, for the first name, from the first name, two characters. First name, from the first name, two characters, and last name, two characters. And based on the application, give the three characters from the application name, three characters from the application name. So whichever application you are giving, na, that kind of application, that kind of law, and one number, unique number they want to add. So now in this calculation, what happened? Let's say your name is, the first name is Rakesh, and last name is Sailpoint, and application you are trying for the clarity. And these three, using three fields, you need to calculate one of the dynamic field. So that time first there are two characters from the first name, so RA, and two characters from the last name SCA, and application. So application is a clarity. You are going to give clarity. Like this, you are going to define one user, and that user automatically the form need to be calculated and show like this will be there. The rendering will be there. When you are having this kind of challenges, that time what happen? No, we'll be having a performance issues. What you can say, in our forms, we have some of the custom logics and rendering logics is there, dynamic rendering logics are there. That has caused the performance issues. So using that, okay, we have identified that issue, and by simplify the form design, avoided the excessive JavaScripts. So internal scripts, whatever the scripts is there, na, you don't use the JavaScript code. You use this dynamic calculation we reduced, and and load the external data asynchronously. Some external data, sometimes what happen, no, your form will be having a one drop down will be having a loading of users will be there. So that kind of things you can say that. Okay. Next answer, I'm saying that sometimes what happen, no, in the farm itself, you have a farm. In the farm itself, you'll be having one field. Okay. You'll be having one field. That field, okay, that field, you may need to show country names or else city names is there. Sometimes country names will be there. Okay, country names, when you say countries, if you wanted to show countries means if you say world, we have around 300 plus countries. All the 300 countries, if you are trying to show in the drop down, okay, it will cause a, I mean, it is going to be having a huge list. Okay, ఈ డ్రాప్ డౌన్లో చాలా హ్యూజ్ లిస్ట్ ఉంటుంది. And when you're loading them, it will cause the performance issues. That time we need to apply some kind of lazy loading techniques and query optimization. We need to do that. So that way you can, okay, what you can say when you are loading external data, loading from the, when you are fetching the data from the external source during the farm installation, okay, can introduce a latency. So latency means some that is a technique. Using a latency techniques, you can increase the performance. Okay, let me move on it. So like this, you can tell couple of reasons, and one more reason is one what I talked here now. So you have a drop down. Okay, in this form, you have a drop down. In this drop down, you have many values. That time, what you are saying that you use the pagination technique or a search based drop down to load the data dynamically. Pagination means suppose we wanted to show 500, 300 countries here. That time what happened? No, you don't show all the values and show here. You can use a paginess take first 20 values showing. After that, once he clicked and go on to the next 20 characters, next 20 countries showing like that. And the same way, of course, some farms they can Sailpoint itself they are going to implement the pagination concept. Okay, next moving on here, and pagination as of now what I spoke. So when you are having a farms, if you're having a multi values, so don't do go for the complex logics. And the second one is a pagination concept, lazy loading. That is the way you can implement. Next one is you to improve the performance. Sometimes you can do client validation also. This this statement, complex and insufficient validation logic can slow down the form submission. When you are giving the data, after taking the data, doing a validation, instead of that, before taking the data itself, do the client validation. If the proper value they have given, take the data and do the validation. Done. ఓకే, ఇక్కడ ఏం చెప్తున్నారంటే మనము డేటాని తీసుకునేప్పుడే ఒక ఫామ్లో మనం డేటా ఇస్తున్నాం అనుకోండి, ఆ డేటా ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ కంట్రీ నేమే ఇస్తున్నాం అనుకోండి, అక్కడ ఉన్న కంట్రీ ఒకటి ఉంటే బ్యాక్గ్రౌండ్లో మనం వేరే కంట్రీ సబ్మిట్ చేస్తున్నాం అనుకోండి, అప్పుడు అన్నెసరీగా డేటా తీసుకునేప్పుడే మనకి వాలిడేషన్స్ అనేవి మనకి అన్నెసరీ డేటా పంపించడము, సర్వర్ సైడ్కి వెళ్ళి అక్కడ వ్యాలిడేషన్ చేసే కన్నా బ్రౌజర్ దగ్గరే వ్యాలిడేట్ చేయమంటారన్నమాట. సో దట్ ఈస్ వన్ ఆఫ్ ద technique you can improve అనమాట. So next one, okay, these are the causes. You can remember all the couple of points. You can go and tell. Normally, many interviews they're asking what are the performance issues you faced it. These are all the examples you can say that. Next one, during the form submission. Unnecessarily workflows or a task triggered by the form submission can slow down the performance. So sometimes unnecessarily, if you are not doing, actually a project was developed by people, so multiple developers. So sometimes happen, as per the developer convenience, they'll develop the things and they'll give the code and all. So to avoid that, review the workloads triggered by the forms, avoid the unnecessary triggers for the unnecessary tasks or batch processing. By using this approach also, you can avoid the performance issues. And one more point is slow UA component, front end, whatever the form you're seeing, the form, okay, whatever the form you're seeing, that form might be having different UA components and insufficient rendering of the form elements. So the form will be having internally, suppose I have a form here, this is one field. Okay, the field will have a field validation like technique, and you can have also rendering mechanism, how the data need to be loaded and all. The same point I discussed already. You can. That's the reason I'm reducing the explanation more on these points. Next one, unoptimized Bean shell. Actually, when you are doing a Sailpoint development, that time you are going to use a Bean shell script only. Forms development. Unoptimized Bean shell script also will cause a problem. So to avoid this problem, what you have to do, you have to refactor the code to improve the efficiency and understand the code. If you are using multiple times the same values, you are using it. Observe that. And sometimes what happened, no, when we were using 7 years back, that time there is no identity model concept. We were not aware of that. That time we have initialized the for the each field we have used one variable and same variables we have sent to the next section and all. That has caused the performance issues. Instead of that, you can use the model concept, identity model concept. So next is a concurrency issues. When multiple users accessing the same form, that time we'll be facing a concurrency issues. We'll be facing a concurrency issues. So to avoid this thing, review the concurrency handling and distribute the load and optimize the form performance for the multiple users. What you have to do? These cases we need to do stress testing. You need to ask 10 people to open the form. And so when you say this problem, they may ask you, how did you find, how did you avoid it, how did you validate it? You have to say trial and error, you fix this problem and all. And one more is limited the system resource can lead to the performance degradation during the peak uses. Suppose your system is going to work in the peak, normal hours is good. Whenever the peak usage is there, that time you will be having a problem. You may ask me, what is the peak usage? You know one thing, most of the companies, they will give terminations every 15 days once. So main users raise termination request 15th or 30th days only. Okay. Day 15th or day 13th only. So that time they will raise a termination request. So I can say that time PQC is there for the termination request. So these kind of issues you can say, and during the okay, during the issue, this kind of issues you can say, whenever they asked about what are the forms you used it, what are the issues you faced it, and one more thing is heavy operations performed during the farm lifecycle events can be introduced delays. Thus, when you are doing the joiner workflow, joiner lifecycle event, the same lifecycle event, if you are using a multiple validations or else multiple form keying, that time also it will cause a major problems. So these are the major points you can say during the interviews. Somebody asks you, you can say these points. Hey, I have faced these problems. Prepare well for this question. This is the question asked in interviews. So be prepared for this answer and you can demonstrate this answer very well in the interview.